Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Proper Plays live show here on our YouTube channel. Joining me, as always, we have Trey Trends and Seth Stacks. We're going to break down some of the games for Saturday, the bigger games in college football. We also have the Dog of the Week, the Parlay Lock as well. So let's get right into it. We're going to break down 6 games. We're going to start with OU versus Texas. Texas minus 6.5. Over-under is 60.5. Seth, I'll have you start us off.
Yeah, guys. I'm actually going to lean Texas in this one. OU has had some dominant performances, but I have not been overly impressed with them thus far. But one thing I do know is this Texas team, though, is for real, and they are tops or near the top in both offensive and defensive categories. Quinn Ewers has looked fantastic leading this Texas offense, and I look for them to keep things rolling in this game. Oklahoma's defense has been susceptible at times this year, and this Texas offense can put up points in bunches. So I don't like this matchup for Oklahoma's defense at all. I don't really see this being as close as some people think. I think Oklahoma is a tad bit overhyped, in my opinion. So I'm just going to lean Texas here in a big win for Texas.
Yeah, we had trouble early, Seth. Probably the best rivalry game that we have in college football, the Red River rivalry. Say that 10 times fast. I think the smart play is to take the Sooners and buy the point plus 7.5. I just don't see any way that Texas beats Oklahoma by more than a touchdown, even though I do think Texas is a better team in this game. I do want to say, you mentioned the defense. Oklahoma in the last 3 games these teams have played, they have allowed 49, 48, and 45 points to Texas. And that is a very important stat because people need to know that this is not the same Oklahoma defense that we're used to seeing in the Big 12. This season, they ranked 24th in the country in total defense and 28th in the country in red zone efficiency defense. It's a completely different Oklahoma defense. And I know that Texas has a lot of great talent, NFL-like players on that team. But this seems like a game that's going to come down to the wire in a very good rivalry matchup. Give me Oklahoma by the point. Give me Oklahoma plus 7.5. Trey, split it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bear here. I'm going to go with the 7.5 for OU. Man, Pat McAfee, he was at the Texas State Fair, and it was buzzing there. Texas fans were going crazy saying FOU. Oklahoma fans, I don't think I heard very many of them, so that's kind of worrisome, guys. You got to be out there supporting your team. But I think OU, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. 7.5 points is too much for this rivalry. We are big Big 12 fans over here, so we know that this is the game that both these two guys have circled on their calendar for basically as soon as and then as soon as the NCAA schedule drops. So I think this game's going to be buzzing. I was thinking about going with the over here because I do think that both these offenses are going to be going up and down on the field, but I'm going to go with OU here plus the points. I like that Bear said plus 7.5 because that's what I was thinking. So that's where I'm going to be going for this big rivalry game.
Yeah, and you can go ahead and add the over for me just because I can. Because, I mean, if we're watching this game, we got to bet for the over. I think they're going to score a lot of points too. So I'm on Oklahoma and the over. Trey's on Oklahoma. Seth's on Texas minus 6.5. Let's move on. Another big game. LSU minus 5.5 versus Missouri over under 64.5. Seth, start us off again.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Mizzou. I'm not buying their start. I don't think the one good win they had was against K-State. The rest of that, their strength of schedule hasn't been that great. And K-State doesn't even look like the team they were last year. So it's very hard to get a good read on Mizzou, whereas LSU, we know they have already played some very, very good teams this year. I know they lost a heartbreaking one after blowing a lead in the fourth quarter last week. But I tell you one thing, they still have one guy, and this guy's name is Jaden Daniels. He is absolutely the best dual threat quarterback, in my opinion. He is going to be the biggest X factor in this game. I don't think Mizzou's that great, and I don't think they're going to be able to slow down Jaden Daniels in this LSU offense. Even though this is a road game for LSU, I'm going to take them at minus 5.5 here.
Good pick, Seth. I want LSU here minus 5.5, so I'm just going to take them. I see it. I like it. I want it. I got it. I will just channel my inner Ariana Grande with this selection because LSU last week, guys, they bit me over and they showed me. They sent me into a tailspin that I haven't been in a while, and I usually only feel this way about the Dallas Cowboys, but LSU got me good last week. I was sitting on the couch just silently saying to myself, they're just kids. Don't be too mad at them. But this is a new week for LSU. I think LSU offense is going to do whatever they want against Missouri. I also think that Missouri can do whatever they want to LSU. LSU defense looked horrible against Ole Miss, so this might be a game where whoever has the ball last wins. I will be taking the over as well in this game. So give me LSU minus 5.5 and the over. Both offenses should dominate in this game. Trey?
Yeah, I'm going to do exactly what I did with the last game as well. I'm going to take Missouri here plus 7.5. I might be drinking the Kool-Aid, I guess, for this Missouri team because they look pretty good. They beat my K-State Wildcats at a last-second field goal. And Brady Cook, he looks like one of maybe the best quarterback in the SEC. I feel like that's not even a stretch because he has not had a single turnover all year. And he's been playing against some decent defenses. He played against K-State and was lighting them up. And it's mostly because of his wide receivers. Luther Burton, he is an absolute dog. And I feel like he is going to have his moment against this LSU Tigers team. So I'm going to go with Missouri here plus 7.5. I feel like their home crowd is going to be buzzing. I really love this play because I don't think they're going to lose by a touchdown.
All right, 2 on LSU, 1 on Missouri. Let's move on. Big game here. Alabama minus 1.5 versus Texas A&M. I think it's moved to 2.5 if I'm correct. Over under is 46.5. Seth, I'll have you start.
Yeah, guys, and I've done this for the last couple weeks. You guys went against them a couple weeks ago. I did not go against them, and I'm not going to go against them here again. I'm going to stick with Alabama. I'm going to ride with Alabama. They've been playing a lot better of late. And they have been a real mystery to me so far this season, but we are now in SEC play, and we all know how Alabama dominates in the SEC play. They also are going to have something on their mind, and that is the last time they went into A&M. A&M stunned them, and I think they're going to have that on their mind, and they're going to be ready to bounce back in this game. Alabama has won each of its last 15 games as a favorite against non-AP ranked teams. This line makes me think people will side with A&M at home as they have covered the spread in each of their last 4 games, but not me. I'm not going to go against Saban in this Alabama in SEC play. Jaden Milroe has just started finally playing better and figuring things out. This offense has put up 64, and the defense has only allowed 27 over their last 2 games. In my opinion, Alabama is humming. They're humming at the right time. I like them here going into Texas A&M and winning this one pretty easily.
Yeah, Seth, I'll take the opposite. This is going to be a really tough game for anybody to bet on, really. So it's going to be a great game, though. I know that. I think I'm going to take Texas A&M here plus the points. I also like the under 46.5 in this game. Not entirely sure why, but it just feels like both these defenses are good this season. I also like that this game is going to be played at Texas A&M. They're going to be extra rowdy at home this game, trying to knock off Alabama. And if I'm going to stay consistent with what I've been saying the entire season, I think that Alabama is a fraud. I think Nick Saban era is over at Alabama, so this would be a game that I would correspond with that. So I have to take A&M here because I've been saying Alabama is a fraud all season long. So I'm going to stay with my word and take Texas A&M here with the points. Trey?
Yeah, I'm going to side with Bear here, but I'm going to buy a point. I'm going to take Texas A&M plus 3.5 in this game. I don't think that Texas A&M is going to lose this game. I was flirting with taking them straight up on the money line, and it's because their crowd is absolutely wild. Once Kyle Field starts going, it is hard to stop. And all you need to give them is a lick of hope, a lick of, up by 7. If they score on the opening drive against Alabama, that place is going to be going crazy. And I know Seth said Jalen Milroe has been looking a little bit better, but he still has not been looking very good. And I think he's going to be cracking under this pressure. It's going to be one of his first true road games, and I'm not sure how he's going to respond. So I'm going to be taking Texas A&M plus the points. And if you guys really want it, I would take the money line as well.
I love it, Trey. Add the money line for me, too. You know what? Just take away the spread. Give me the money line A&M. I am all in on A&M. All right, let's move on. UCF going up against Kansas. Kansas minus 1.5, over under 64.5. Seth, you're going to the game. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's going to be cold.
Yep.
I'm not looking forward to that. No, it's not going to be that bad. But here's the thing. We still don't know who's going to be under center for UCF, but we do know who's going to be under center for KU, and that's going to be Jason Bean. I do think this week will be a little better because Jason Bean has had the whole week to prepare. And there's another thing: this UCF defense is absolutely terrible. The big thing here is both of these defenses are terrible. It really doesn't matter which QB plays for UCF. I think we're going to hit the over here. UCF's last 2 games have went over 64.5 points. I don't think either defense is going to be stopping anybody in this game. So I do feel confident, and I'm not really high on the line here. I don't know with not know. What I'm saying is with not knowing which QB UCF is going to have under center, I don't fully feel confident taking UCF to upset Kansas here. But I will throw this out now. If John Rhys Plumlee does play, I think UCF will go win this game.
Has Kansas moved to plus points, Trey?
Yes,
so Plumlee might be playing. Plumlee might be playing.
Plumlee's out for the year. I know that. They're going to have McClain under center. Boy, that's a big line movement. Was Daniels supposed to play at -2? Has Daniels always been ruled out?
Daniels was ruled out week to week yesterday because he didn't do a practice Monday or Tuesday. I think he may have been a light participant, but I think they have ruled him out since then.
All right. Well, I was going to take the over, but it looks like we're not going to get either quarterback in this game for either team. So I guess I'm just going to take Kansas on the money line, not knowing if Danny's going to play. Kansas is going to be at home in this game regardless, and they have good wins against BYU and Illinois already this season. And if we just watch UCF blow a huge lead in the second half last game, they haven't put together 4 good quarters yet this season. So give me the Jayhawks. If Daniels does play, I can see this line jumping a couple points in favor of Kansas, but it sounds like he's not going to play. But just give me Kansas here on the money line. I'll go with my home team. Trey?
I'm going to go with UCF here. I was initially worried, but I'm going to take them on the money line. I was officially worried at the beginning because I was like, dang, these Florida boys, I'm not sure how they're going to respond to the cold, but they just traveled to K-State in Manhattan a couple weeks ago, and they put up 30-plus points in that game. So I think their offense is still going to be rolling. I will say this, Bear, John Rice Plumlee, he was practicing this week. So he is questionable. He has not been ruled out for this game officially. I'm hoping that he does end up playing. But like Seth says, if he doesn't end up playing, their backup, he isn't that big of a drop-off because he's honestly a better passer, but he's obviously not as good of a runner as Plumlee is. But I do think UCF is going to put up a lot of points. I don't have the confidence in Bean. He's so hot and cold. He's either going to put up 40 or he's going to put up 4. And I would bet on UCF here to just put up more points than KU. So I'm going to take them on the money line.
Yeah, add the over for me, Trey. Add the over as well for me. I'm just all over the place this week. I'm just going to take every over and just not look at my bank account. But all right, let's move on to the next game. This is going to be a great game. Some people think it might not. Some people think it will be. Kentucky versus Georgia. Georgia minus 14.5, over under 48. Seth, what do we have?
Yeah, we're all sleeping on Kentucky. I did it last week. I mean, yep. I think it's to the point where we start giving them a little bit of respect, and this is going to be the game where they're really going to earn it because I do think they will be able to go into Georgia and cover the 14.5-point spread here. Georgia has underperformed this season. They are not looking like the number 1 team. They continue to be seeded. Georgia let South Carolina stay close a couple weeks ago and just barely squeaked out a win against Auburn last week. They continue to flirt with losing, and I think they should be very careful in this game because this Kentucky team is coming in with a different buzz, and they can absolutely beat them on the road. This is also not the same Georgia defense that we are used to seeing that dominates teams. On the other side of the ball, though, this Kentucky offense has been dominating, averaging 396.2 yards per game, and are coming off a game where they scored 33 points against a pretty good Florida defense, and they also rushed for over 200 in that game. So I just don't like how Georgia has been continuing to let opponents stay super close to them. I think they're going to end up doing this, and a team's going to take advantage of it. And I think if any team's going to be able to do that, I do think this Kentucky team can do it. So I don't even mind if you want to take a risk here, take them on the money line as well.
Yeah, you said it great. I love Kentucky in this spot. I'm also going to make Kentucky my parlay lock of the week at plus 14.5 coming up. I do think that a lot of people are going to be taking Georgia in this game because this is the spot that Georgia would usually come out and dominate this game. I've had a lot of questions about Georgia, and so have a lot of people this season about them coming out slow and not looking like Georgia of the past. But they can shut everybody up right here by coming out against Kentucky, a team that is very high right now, and beat the crap out of them. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Kentucky's going to stay in this game, and I think Kentucky has a chance to win this game. Kentucky is now has a quarterback that can throw the ball, and they have one of the best running backs in the entire nation. The Georgia Bulldogs last week almost lost to Auburn. They really should have lost to Auburn. I thought Auburn outplayed them. I just think there's not a dominant team this season in college football. So I'm going to take Kentucky here with the points. There's not a lot of teams out there that I'm like, they are a winner of the national championship. I'll see them in the championship game. Not a lot of teams out there like that. It's kind of up in the air this season. So give me the points in this game. I think Kentucky shows them the game. Trey?
Yeah, this line kind of worries me because last week, Georgia, they were 14.5-point favorites against Auburn, and now they're here 14.5-point favorites against Kentucky. Something's just not adding up. But I can't fade the parlay lock here. So I'm going to go with Kentucky here plus 14.5. They're led by Devin Leary, and that guy's a dog. He was turning around in NC State's program until he decided, you know what, I'm going to go to a lot better school in Kentucky. But I do think that Kentucky has enough dogs. I don't know about the money line, Seth, because it is at Georgia. But I do think that they have enough dogs to keep this game close. 14.5 is too much. 2 touchdowns, that's too much. And like Bear said, everyone knows Georgia can turn it on and shut it down pretty quickly. So it is a little bit of a risky bet, but I do love Kentucky in this spot.
All right, we are all on Kentucky. Let's move on to the last game. Then we have the dog of the week and our parlay lock. It's going to be Notre Dame minus 6.5 versus Louisville. Over under 54. Seth, what do you have?
Yeah, and guys, Louisville has had a nice start under new coach Jeff Brom, but showed their first struggle of the season last week against NC State. NC State was able to stop stifle Louisville's offense by really making sure Jawar Jordan couldn't get things going. And the thing here is Louisville will be facing an even better defense in Notre Dame that made things very difficult on a very good Duke team, or on a very good run-heavy Duke team. Notre Dame has faced much stiffer competition to this point of the season, so they will be ready for this game against Louisville. Louisville relies heavily on the running back Jawar Jordan, and with how good this Notre Dame front five on the defense is, I think Louisville will have trouble getting Jawar Jordan going. You know, Notre Dame's been in a couple close games the last couple weeks. It came down to the wire with Duke last week. They lost on a last-second touchdown by Ohio State. I think we're going to see Notre Dame take control of this one from the get-go and not let things be as close as their last two games. So I do like their spread here at 6.5.
Yeah, I'm with you again, Seth. I like the Fighting Irish here minus 6.5. There are a couple reasons why I like Notre Dame here. The first one is that Notre Dame has played a very tough schedule, like you just said, compared to the Cardinals. They have played Ohio State, a game they probably should have won, and then they went on the road and beat Duke in a very good game in that one. Louisville this season has been playing very bad teams in the ACC and Big Ten. 4 not good teams in the FBS this season. They've played Boston College, Indiana, Murray State, Georgia Tech, and NC State. I would say NC State's probably the best team on that list, and they are not that good this season. I also think that Jack Plummer, the Louisville Cardinals quarterback, is going to struggle because he's been struggling with interceptions this season. He has thrown at least 1 interception in all of his games but 1, and he has 6 on the season. Last week, he threw 2 against NC State, who's a pretty good defense, but we know that this Notre Dame team is a very good defense. And I know that Sam Hartman has been struggling recently, but he's been playing some really good quality teams. I like Notre Dame here to win by a couple scores, so give me Notre Dame against the Cardinals as my play. Trey?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go on the opposite side of you guys. I'm going to buy a full point. I'm going to take Louisville here, plus 7.5 at home. Louisville, they've looked honestly pretty good this season against, decent, competition. I know you guys are saying they're not up to snuff to Notre Dame's, which is true. But I mean, those are still, FBS programs, Power 5 programs. They're not really going up against any cupcake team. So I got to give that to them. And they're sitting here perfect. And this is a home game. And we know how much that means in college football. Playing at home, having that crowd behind you, being able to sleep in your own beds is huge. And I think having all those tough opponents might go against Notre Dame in this game, because I think they look at Louisville and say, oh my gosh, wow, we just got done with Ohio State. We just got done with a ranked Duke team in College game day. We finally get the let up here against this Louisville team. And I think they might be overlooking this team. Marcus Freeman might not have his boys quite ready for this game. So give me Louisville here, plus 7.5 at home.
All right, Notre Dame, and Trey is on Louisville. Let's move on to the dog of the week. Let's take a look at the leaderboard here, Trey. Not great last week. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But, Trey, I'll have you start with the dog.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you to relinquish the rage on a responsible party. We'll see what happens. But this week, it's going to be Cal here, plus 7.5 in this game. They're going up against Oregon State, but Cal is playing at home. I just got done saying how much I believe that home field matters, and I think it's going to matter a lot in this game. So I'm going to go with Cal here, plus 7.5. Jaden Ott, he's looked like a bell cow this season, and they got a couple backs behind him that I think is going to be good as well. So I'm going to go with Cal here, plus 7.5 as my play.
Hopefully he doesn't take the last minute of the game. Yeah, tell me about it, dude. I was stressing that game. I'm going to take the Huskies as my dog of the week. They're plus 9.5. They're plus 280 on the money line. Last season, the Huskies won 6 games and went to a bowl game, and now they've started the season. They've lost 5 straight. They're 0-5. They're going on the road to take on Rice, and I think this is a game they can win. The biggest thing in this game is if UConn secondary can stop JT Daniels, because if they can stop JT Daniels, they win this game. Rice currently 13th in the nation in passing yards per game, and they do have a lot of targets on that team. But the Huskies are going to counter with the 55th best passing defense this season, who are only allowing 229.2 yards per game. Last week, I took the Huskies as my dog. I'm going to keep what happened in the locker room because we are a family. We are a team here on this channel. We have had some conversation about what happened last week. I know a lot of you might have questions on what happened last week to the Huskies. They got up by 14-plus points, and then all of a sudden they had a tremendous letdown losing the game. But we're going to keep what happened in-house. We're going to learn from our mistakes. We're going to double down on the Huskies this week. So give me UConn as my dog of the week. Seth?
Yeah, and we will keep that in-house because that was probably my fault, guys. That was my fault. But, we're in the part of the show where we are telling you guys what risks to take. And I'm going to say if I'm going to take a risk, I'm going to take a pretty big one. And I'm going to take Kentucky on the money line going into Georgia and beating them. I've mentioned this multiple times. Georgia is flirting with trying to lose a game this season. Yeah. They continue to let teams stay with them that should not stay with them at all. This Kentucky team is far better than Auburn and far better than South Carolina. I know a lot of people might say, oh, this Kentucky team's a fluke, but this offense is really, really good. This offense can move the ball. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. I know this is a home game for Georgia, but, man, they're flirting with a loss, and I think they're going to take a loss right in this game. I think Kentucky, who has a nice buzz around them, is going to go in, beat Georgia on the road. Give me Kentucky on the money line.
Yes, Seth, I do love that play. All right, those are our dogs of the week. Let's move on to the parlay lock. Last week, I wear it on my back. I took the loss with the LSU money line. I was very upset. I think it took me, 2-3 hours to even get in the shower, to even prepare to take a nap, to go to bed, nap, or whatever you want to call it. I only got like an hour of sleep because I let the entire team down with LSU on money line. But I'm going to bounce back 4-1 on the season. We're looking to go 5-1. Trey, I'll have you start us off with a parlay lock since you haven't lost one yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Navy here, -2.5. I bought 1.5, I think, to take it down to this -2.5. I just feel like there's no way that Navy's gonna lose this game by a field goal. They are playing at home, and it is against North Texas. And North Texas, yes, their offense is pretty deadly, but their defense is quite possibly one of the worst defenses in college football. They allow a ton of points, and this Navy team is going to be able to run up and down the field on them because North Texas, they have not seen an offense like this all season, and they've been getting lit up in just basically every game this season. So I think Navy, their offense is going to be able to do enough to put up a ton of points, and their defense is going to be able to do enough to stop some plays that North Texas is going to be running and win this game by at least a field goal. So I'm going to go with Navy here -2.5 as my parlay lock.
I love it, Trey. Put up the Juice's comment. Last leg of the parlay was a rough one for me. I had Notre Dame actually as the last leg, but LSU was it knocked me back 7 years of my life, I'll say. 7 to 8 years of my life was taken away from LSU, but we're going to move on this week. I'm going to take Kentucky plus 14.5. I already mentioned a little bit ago, but I'm going to be taking Kentucky plus 14.5, my lock of the week. They now have Devin Leary at the quarterback spot, and he's doing a great job leading this team. This is a different Kentucky team that we've seen in the past that can move the ball now. They have a great running back in senior Ray Davis, who last week ran for 280 against Florida. I think Kentucky stays in this game mainly because I don't think Georgia's that good. They have not impressed me like they've had in recent years. Like I said before, there's not a team this season that I can guarantee a spot in the championship. And years past, that team is Georgia. Last 5 years, Georgia, automatic lock in the NCAA championship game. This year, it's up in the air. Give me Kentucky with the points as my lock of the week. Seth?
Yeah, I didn't mention this in either of the times I was talking about Kentucky, but if they just do a good job of limiting what Brock Bowers can do in that game, I think that's going to go a long way in helping them in that game as well. Yeah. But I know LSU, I know Jesse's wearing that one heavy, but I'm going to go right back to them this week. They're pissed off. They are pissed off that they ended up losing that game to Ole Miss. I'm still not sold on Mizzou. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, what they're doing is a fluke, but I'm not sold on them yet. They beat K-State. That was a good win. But other than that, I'm not going to say anything has been that impressive with them. LSU has this guy named Jaden Daniels, who is an absolute dual threat quarterback. He's probably the best dual threat in the NCAA. So I am just going to ride LSU in this one and just take them to beat Missouri on the road because I'm not sold on Missouri. And I do know that LSU is a good team. They've just had a very, very tough schedule to start the year.
All right, that is the parlay lock. Looking to move to 5-1. The Juice says Jaden Daniels is NFL ready. I completely agree. I think he's the best quarterback right now, besides Caleb Williams, obviously, in college football. But guys, that's going to do it for our live show tonight. We appreciate all you guys who tuned in and watched. Make sure you catch our videos tomorrow. We have an MLB video and a college football video coming out for the plays on Saturday. Also, check out the website, bearsprofitplays.com. We have a ton of free plays over there. Thanks again, guys, for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow in our videos. Have a good night, guys.